Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Lewis Brown, your Local 1000 president. Today is April 3rd, 2025. This is a 15-minute video. I won't go past 15 minutes. I'll keep it short and sweet. Title of this video, remember the toxic telework garbage that they gave to you back in April of 2022 when they, quote, retaliated and suspended me from office. Because I had to, quote, properly suspend the duties of the 3 statewide presidents because they wanted to support the illegal chair position. How do you know this? Because when you see the pictures attached to this post, you'll see where, quote, the chair, Bill Hall, signed up on this illegal telework agreement. So that's why I had to suspend the duties of the statewide officers on February 25th, 2022. They retaliated against me. They had no power. I was Annika Walls, David Jimenez, Irene Green. They did it on February 27th. The union wanted me out, and they wanted to override the vote of the people, 2,637 voters who put me in office in a historic 5-person election. So they took me to court. They ran me out. The corrupt Sacramento Superior Court system is trying to destroy me, but I haven't stopped fighting for you. I am in the right. I will be reinstated. Telework, the garbage telework agreement. Remember the survey we did in 2021? In December 2021, we sent a survey to everyone in the union when I was over there. Survey came back. I reported on the survey on January 12th, 2022. If you want a copy of that PDF, I'll send it to you. Just email me at richard.brown7437@yahoo.com. I put up some pictures with this post so you can see that the members said we want nothing less than $100 for telework for everyone equally. No distinction between those in the office and those remote. No distinction. $100, nothing less. And we also stated, the members stated with the question that was asked, denial of telework. And they stated overwhelmingly, there will be no denial without the state justifying through a loss of services or product that bringing you back to office is something they have to do. And that way you'll stop the state by arbitrarily saying, we want you to return back to work on July 1st, 2025, 4 days a week. It's really 5 days. But that was going to stop that. And it was also going to stop allowing bosses to show favoritism to their favorites in the office. They can keep working from home, but everybody else has to come back to work. The survey addressed all of that because I had the survey sent out. Nothing less than $100 to everyone equally, and permanent telework, and no denial of permanent telework, because we proved that the 4th largest economy on earth could keep going. It could keep going by people working from home. And we were saving the environment because Governor Gavin Newsom said he wanted to have everybody buy electric cars. He wanted to get all the gas cars off the road. So we were saving the environment. We were working. The state of California never declined in its services and product to the citizens of the state of California. It never stopped. It never stopped. So why is it now they want to force you back to work? Because Gavin Newsom, you're catching him now in his transgender truth. You're catching him now in his transgender truth because he's a transgender liar. At least his actions lead us to believe that. Because now he's saying that trans girls shouldn't play in girl sports. But last year and all the years prior to that, he was saying, yes, let a trans girl play in girl sports. But then when they lost the election, the Democrats, now they're, quote, trying to change their tune, at least some of them, because he wants to run for the U.S. president. And that's why he had me removed from office. At least his actions indicate that he wants to have me removed from office. So that's why I say you can't transgender the truth. It's either the right way or the wrong way. So we, as, quote, women and men of Local 1000, whether you pay money or not, you're still represented. We must fight evilness together, unified. But you have to have your president, your leader, reinstated. If you want to contact me at 408-207-2339. If you want to contact me, so you want to take action, not to give advice, but to take action, 408-207-2339. My email, richard.brown7437@yahoo.com. Facebook page, of course, RL Brown. Catch me on Twitter, Richard Real 7437 on Twitter, and on my Instagram, Richard the Real 7437. All right. With that being said, if you want any type of education about our union, go to my website, createexcellence7437.com. That's createexcellence7437.com. Let me say this to you. We must walk in faith and not by sight. I'm really preaching to myself today. Not to you, but to myself. We must walk in faith and not by sight. So don't believe everything you see and everything you hear. Weigh things out, but you must walk in faith. You must have a belief in a higher power. And that's going to get you through. And by walking in faith and not by sight or by what you hear, that is truly how you go into your spirit and how you meet the moment. That's how you truly meet the moment, not for secular reasons, but you meet the moment in spirituality. You go into the spirit. And we're battling evilness because they want to force you back to work for no reason at all. They want to pay you barely a living wage. Remember, you voted me in to get you a substantial pay increase, 21% across the board, equally for everyone, along with GO pay for certain areas and COLA. That's what you voted me in for. That's what you voted me in for. You voted me in to get your dignity finally established with the state of California. If you're looking at illegal contract 5.11, let's do a control F, 5.11. Guess who controls your dignity? The state of California. Cal HR step 3. So how are you protesting when they control you? Who would ever sign an illegal contract with no date, no signatures of the president, the vice presidents, or the bunk chairs? Who would ever do a contract like that? Transgendered liars who are trying to compete with real liars. That's who would sign a contract like that. You don't even know who signed the contract. There is no period, no start period, no end period that tells you this piece of paper with these conditions covers this time period. It doesn't even tell you this. But yet they tell you that I'm the one that's delusional. They tell you, well, he's losing in court, so he must be wrong. That's an absolute lie. Sometimes you have to appeal and appeal until the truth comes out. I have said this over and over and over again. I did a telework survey, and the members said $100, nothing less, for everyone equally, no distinction. That way you don't have people mad about who's coming to work and who's not coming to work and who's getting paid more. At least $100. That's substantial for a telework stipend. That is substantial. If you belong to a union and they're telling you they want you to live day to day for a living wage, they want to keep you in the poorhouse. Let me get to my next point, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Local 1000 is not a union. It's a social justice organization that dances around. You know, they can't really, I don't understand the English that they're speaking. I don't even know if they're here. These so-called leaders, are they here? Are they here for you? Are they undocumented? Because the lies that they're telling are transgendered lies. Because the real liars are at the state capitol. That's the real liars. Those are the pro-liars. But now they want to compete. So they tell you that they're for you, but that's a transgendered lie. Because they're lying to keep up with the other liars, but they're transgendering the lie by saying they're for you. There's the right way, there's the wrong way. There's no in between. No, there's not. And that's what they're trying to put on for you. That's what they're trying to convince you of their Oscar-winning B-rated performance, that they care for you. They don't care for you. If they cared for you, they would have respected your vote and kept your president. And that's me, Richard Lewis Brown. I was elected in May of 21. My term has not ended because when you have a new election, the former president runs the election process. Look it up. And if they've made any changes since they, quote, illegally tried to suspend and remove me, all those changes are invalid. From the bylaws to the policy file, it's invalid. I promise you this. I will win in court. I am walking in faith. And therefore, when I said years ago, don't stop believing, I was actually talking out into the future. And so until you can convince yourself that you're somebody special, then how is someone else going to treat you with respect and dignity? They're not. You must know your own value. And as long as you keep sitting back and posting on Facebook, thinking that you're doing the battle, you're not doing the battle. I'm doing the battle. I filed legal documents. They tell you they filed an unfair labor practice. That's garbage. There's no weight behind that. Because if they had in their illegal contract that they signed, allegedly, they would have had that tele agreement already figured out. And they didn't do that right. But they're trying to convince you that they're fighting for you now. They're liars. They're transgender liars. But they weren't born transgender liars. They were born as regular liars. Some people have the lying spirit in them. They were born as regular liars, and now they're trying to transform themselves into a transgendered liar, getting their hair all done, makeup, lips, all that, dancing on, putting on for you. Who cares about how good someone can dance? What I want to know is, did that person who's dancing, did they get paid? Did they get me paid a substantial amount of money? Yes or no? Did they keep my boss from being, quote, self-serving, egotistical, and abusing me and harassing me in the workplace? And then when I say I'm going to call my union for representation, I don't get it. You know why you don't get job representation? Because you don't belong to a, quote, labor union. You belong to a social justice organization called Service Employees International Union. In other words, Slaves Entertaining in Unity. And they are the radical arm of the Democratic Party. Listen to how I say this. SEIU is the radical arm of the Democratic Party. This organization takes your money and gives it to International, at least half, 50% of it. And then they come back around and ask you for more money to help you cope with what you're going through. They're going to help you cope by taking more of your money for their political campaign for the Democratic Party. So all the people in Local 1000 who are non-Democrats, you're not being represented. They don't care about you. Show me one time where SEIU has done something to benefit the Republican Party. They haven't, and they won't, because they are the, quote, radical arm of the Democratic Party. If you remember Kamala Harris, when she was running around on that airplane, look at the side of the airplane. Look at the side of the airplane. That was sponsored by SEIU in D.C., and that's the people I'm fighting. I'm fighting these lawyers from D.C. and from California representing SEIU, because SEIU is worried about Local 1000 losing this lawsuit that they filed against me, and I return filed one against them. They're worried about losing. They should be, because justice is not on their side. Corruption is on their side. And that's why they're trying to force you back to work, because, quote, Gavin is transgendered the truth, because he's worried that if he doesn't force you back to work, won't no money come from the federal government on July 1st. That's what he's worried about. But I thought he was such a hardcore Democrat. Again, he has transgendered the truth. He'll tell you anything you want to hear at any given time, and then say, hey, the Democratic Party right now, it's toxic. You're the one that's toxic, Gavin Newsom. You're the one that's transgendered the truth. And now you got these so-called leaders at Local 1000. They're being transgendered too. They were just regular liars. Now they're transgendered like you. All right. So listen, I'm in a great mood. April 3rd, 2025. I am Richard Lewis Brown, and I want to thank you so much for your cause, for your concerns. I'm not going to let anyone intimidate me. No one's going to bully me. I'm going to keep fighting for you. That's a promise. And even though you feel like giving up and just laying on the couch and throwing your life away, I'm not going to throw my life away. I have a special destiny, and that's to lead you. You don't ever have to worry about my sincerity. Yeah, I may not be able to dance. I may not be able to speak Spanish, German, French, Chinese, Mandarin, Cantonese, Filipino, Tagalog, whatever you want to say. Swahili. I can barely speak English, but here's what I do know. The English that I do speak, I stand on, because I stand in sincerity to help you forever and forever and forever. My name is Richard Lewis Brown, your Local 1000 president, and today is April 3rd, 2025. I want to thank you for your time. Mwah. Have a great day.